Good afternoon, and welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to our Direwolf 21.10 Minecraft series. So, since last episode, I've been very busy. First off, I did go ahead and set up some travel anchors. I haven't got a staff of traveling yet, just because I don't have a soul binder and all of that stuff set up just yet. I did go ahead and just connect up the power, basically just to link it all together, so if one side starts pulling a lot, it can get backup from the others. I also made a couple capacitor banks, and I'll show you here in a little bit. I'll show you my quarry setup, which I'm pretty happy with. But if we go ahead, I don't have any kind of elevator system set up just yet. But if we pop up here, you'll notice I've got an area up here that's built out. And I started spreading out our wings a little bit so that we have some room to work with. And we have this area over here. So right now there's nothing. I haven't started moving this stuff out because I spent the entire time building this out and setting up the new quarry area and everything. I did get the phantom placers or the phantom boosters set up with the quarry. So you know, that's all set up. It's actually pulling in quite a bit of resources. So but it does take a while to run the way I have it set up, because I have it set up to gather everything and not just ores right now, because I did need, if you noticed over there, I need a lot of granite and sandstone and different things like that. Plus I've been using quite a bit of cobblestone and stone, that kind of stuff. So also this building, of course, takes andesite. So I needed other stuff other than just ores. But anyway, today we're going to be getting into extra utilities. So, very fun stuff. I love the way that stuff was changed up. So, oops, at extra utilities. I'm still getting used to putting the @ symbol whenever I look up a mod, because of course in 1.7 it wasn't that way. But anyway, the first thing that we're going to want to get ourselves is going to be this Resonator. So it takes a block of coal, some redstone, resonating redstone crystals. None of this stuff should be a big issue. I'm going to go ahead and grab a bit of this stuff. And that gets us our Resonator. So on its own, this really doesn't do anything. I think for right now, just during this episode, I'm going to get everything moved for next episode. I spent a long time building. But by default, this doesn't actually do anything. You'll notice it says grid power 0 out of 0. It just means that there's nothing, we can't do anything with that right now. So what we're going to want to get to actually start generating ourselves some grid power is we are going to want to get ourselves a manual mill right here. So for this, we're going to need just some polished stone and a redstone gear, which is just like that. Let me grab stuff. Aha, just got an ender pearl. Had a visitor, as you can tell. But there's our redstone gear. Now we're going to need some of this polished stone. In addition, this stuff is just stone bricks, like so. So I've got some stone, and then we'll polish them. So now we've got everything here to get our manual mill. And you really only need one of these. You can't really utilize more than one of them. And the reason that we want that is because in order to actually make anything else, we're going to need some of this stone burnt, which is polished stone ran through the resonator. So let me get... I would suggest you go ahead and start up, with a lot of this stuff. Eventually, we're going to be setting up a cobble gem before too long. I don't know if I've said it before, but I think the current plan is we're going to do extra utilities, of course, this episode, and then I want to start working on IC2. I had a suggestion or a request to do some IC2, so we'll probably start that up fairly soon. By the way, to run this thing, you just hold right-click. But we're going to do some IC2, and then we're going to get into some magical mods and also upgrade our power system and do some applied energistics, and I also want to get a cobble gem. That's our near future plan. So that's pretty much what I have in my scheduling book for the next few episodes for Direwolf series. But anyway, as you hold right click, you'll notice that the grid power builds up, and once it hits, I believe, like 8, right? Yeah, once it hits 8, it resets. That's basically, it's running the stone burnt. So we're going to need a bit of this stuff. To get started, we're going to go ahead and make 6 of it. So this is kind of manual, but after we get our first 6 stone burnt, we're not going to have to deal with this anymore. So give me a second here. Okay, so we got 6 stone burnt. That's enough of that. I hate using that thing. And so the next thing that we're going to want, let's get ourselves a bit more. I'm just going to grab like all of this oak wood, and we'll turn about half of it into sticks, And we're going to turn those. And we'll get ourselves a few of these redstone gears. I am going to want a lot of these by the end of the episode, like a bunch. But the first thing that we're going to make, and the setup that I use personally for extra utilities, because it generates a massive amount of GP, is the water mill. So we'll go ahead, we'll snag that, and then what we're going to do, let's get our water bucket, and I'm going to set this up outside, I believe. And keep in mind, by the way, there are other options. You can do windmills, you can do solar panels, lunar panels, lava generators, fire mills, and so on. But water mills are what I like to use because you can generate a massive amount of power with these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it right here in the middle. And the way this works is it's going to generate 4 GP whenever it's hit by flowing water. It has to be flowing water. And you'll notice now it says it's generating 4 power. So now, if we take another thing of water here, you'll see that it's generating 8. We get this, and we're generating 12. And then lastly, this bucket of water, and we're generating 16. So already it's massive power generation. I believe the lava generator only comes out to, it says gives 2 GP. I was thinking it was 4 for the lava generator. Of course, the dragon egg generator is just power given 1 GP, and that's 500 actually. So, I don't know. But the water one is the one that I always use. Now, we're going to make a few more of these water mills. I actually want quite a few more. I want to say like 12 is what I use. I know the shape, I just don't remember the exact count. So give me a second, or give me a few minutes here. I'm going to make up a bunch more of these, but you'll notice that now that we're generating that, it's automatically running through the stone burnt fairly quickly. Now, really quickly before I cut, though, I want to make some speed upgrades. Now, the more speed upgrades that you give to, say, the Resonator, it's going to cost a constant, X amount of extra GP. So, in order to use those speed upgrades. But what we're going to need is we're going to need to run a weighted pressure plate through the Resonator. So, let me get... I'm going to go ahead and go for like 10. Or 5 of these, but... So we'll pull that out. And we can run this through. Now if we wanted to, if we wanted extra power, we could do the manual mill as well. But honestly, at this point, it's not really that important. And actually, I'm just going to put this stuff in here. I don't have all the upgrade bases made yet, but that's okay. We'll throw that speed upgrade in there. And now you'll notice that the power drain is capping out. 16. Basically, it's, as much as it's going to be able to run at the moment. So really, let's see. Okay, so we are going to need more power before we'll be able to use the speed upgrades. You can put up to 20 of these in there, but you will need a bit of power generation before you can do all of that. So I'm going to get some more of the water mills made, and then I'll be back in a moment. Alright, and you're going to need, I've got a mess here, as you can tell. You're going to need 17 of these in total for this design. I mean, you don't have to go this crazy, but this is going to have it set so that we don't have to worry about GP power for a very, very good while. And so the way I've got this set up is I've got a water mill here in the center. This was the first one that we put down. Then you come out 3 blocks and put another one here, and you're going to do that on all of your axes. Come out 3 and put a block. Or, 3 in between the blocks. So you come out, 4 from the block. And we'll go ahead and remove that grass and that grass so that water starts hitting them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to basically just do diagonals between each of these water mills. Like so. And there is all 17 of your water mills placed. So now what we need to do is we need to dig out just a little bit here. Basically, we want this entire area here open. But basically, the next thing that you're going to do is on the exterior sides, you're going to put water on each of the axes. So we've got water two blocks out flowing in towards this water mill. And then we're going to do the same over here, and I've already done this side. And once you're done, you're going to end up with something like this. You're going to have zigzags down each side, your axe blocks, and so on. And now the water in the zigzags, the way you're going to place this, like you'll notice this has flowing water technically along each side, but these are only generating like 13, 15, 16, so on. As that water flows, of course, the amount, you'll notice that the depth of it drops, and so it's going to drop the amount of GP that it generates. So to get maximum out of this, you're going to put a source block here on the first part of the zigzag, you know, after the beginning, this corner here, and then this corner here. And now you'll notice that we have 16 all across the board, but it's not, you know, it's not close enough that it's going to make source blocks. So we'll do the same thing. I think it just needs water here and there. So now we have 16 on all 17 of these water mills. So now you'll notice that our grid power, we're generating 272 grid power with this setup. And honestly, making these water mills took about 10 minutes. You know, it doesn't take that long, and at this point, you're going to have enough GP that you're going to be able to put speed upgrades in things. You'll be able to get your angel ring. You'll be able to do all of that with that one setup. Now, eventually, we will add more of those because speed upgrades and stuff all take GP now. But now I can throw all 5 of our speed upgrades in there. Also, I want to take one quick second here to explain the way GP works. So, generally with a power source, of course, you build up you know, your power, and it goes into a buffer and everything, and you use power from that bank. GP instead works on a per tick ratio. So say you're generating 272 grid power and you're only using say 100 of it. That other 172 that you're producing is just going to waste. There's no real, you know, there's no benefit to producing more than what you use. But it's nice to have that buffer. Also, you'll notice things like the Resonator only take GP when they're running. So, you know, you may have, say, 104 GP and you're generating 108, and you're like, okay, well, that's good. But as soon as that Resonator starts working, things stop working. Either that or the Resonator won't kick on, and that's because, of course, you don't have GP to allocate to that. So, you know, basically just think of GP as a per tick. You want to be producing ideally a little bit more than what you're using, at least. That way, just in case something kicks on, you know, you're not going to have things shut down. I've had issues in the past when my GP starts running out. You know, I'll try to use my angel ring to fly, and of course it's not going to kick on because other things are pulling GP that are taking priority over that angel ring. So always try to make sure you know, you have enough to cover all of that stuff. There's no way to store up GP in like a buffer or anything like that. It's just a per tick ratio. So like right now we're generating 272 grid power per tick. And of course that's way more than what we're going to be using for a good while. So we're safe. So, but anyways, if you have any questions on the grid power, you know, do let me know and I'll do my best to explain that to you or help you out with it or anything. Alright, and the next thing that I want to get from Extra Utilities is basically going to be a very early game sorting system. Now we will end up using it later on. I actually just used it on all the mods for a nice little thing that I like having, I guess, like a wireless toolbox. But we're going to want to get ourselves an indexer. Let's just take some stone burnt and some of these resonating redstone crystals, and then a screen, which is more stone burnt, more resonating crystals, and then some of these ender shards made with ender pearls and a glass cutter. So the glass cutter, if you want to use it, you know, normally if you break glass, of course it's going to break, you know, it's going to break that glass. But if you use the glass cutter, you can pick up glass without breaking it. So that's the you know, the standard use for it. But if we take an ender pearl, of course, use the glass cutter, we're going to get 8 of these ender shards. And then we can get ourselves our indexer. And I'm actually going to go ahead and make 2 screens because we're going to use another one in just a second. And then we'll get our indexer. And the way this block works is if we set it up, let's say for example, we want to set it up right here. You'll notice it has a little GUI and everything. If we grab ourselves some transfer pipes, and I do suggest that you go ahead and get yourself a... Okay, I would suggest that you get yourself a transfer node. I forgot I had 4 set up over there because I had a temporary setup to move dust in. But put your transfer node like right there, and then what you're going to do is just plug up transfer pipes. like this. And then we'll go ahead and connect that up. And we may not actually need that one. I haven't tested it without it. And then we're going to just run some more piping over here. So we've got all these chests and barrels and all that stuff plugged up with transfer pipes. And now if you notice, we have access to everything that's in here. And so if we want to, we can just request, say, a blaze rod. It's going to pop out into here. And if we want to throw anything back, we can throw it down there, and it's going to get sent through the transfer pipes into wherever. That's the only thing, is your chests are going to get messy, but that's not really an issue. You know, I'm not too concerned about that. So, you know, this is just a temporary setup, but it'll allow us to have all of our chests linked into one location. Now we're going to take it just a little bit farther, and we are going to get ourselves one more block. It is the Indexer Remote. Now this thing, I'm going to need just a little bit of stone, a screen. We're going to need these eyes of redstone. Now I'm out of resonating redstone crystals, but we can craft these using ender shards. So very, very nice. So we're going to need 2 of these, just like that. And then the way we're going to use this is we're just going to go up and shift right click on our indexer. So now if we open this up, we have access to all of our items anywhere we go. This works across dimensions, you know, pretty much anywhere, no matter the distance. And we can throw items into this wirelessly, and they'll get sent out. So very, very handy, to say the least. And then in addition, of course, what we could do is if we wanted to speed this up just a little bit, we can make some speed upgrades for it. Because by default, transfer nodes, of course, are fairly slow, and they're no fun to wait on. But we'll get, like, I think I made, what, 3 of those? I think 4 of these? Okay, my bad. Because, like I said, we have plenty of GP now, to the point that that's not even an issue at all. So there's that, and then we can just put this on the transfer node. These don't actually need transfer nodes to pull out. It's just the indexer does. Otherwise, the stuff will get locked up in the indexer. So if we wanted to, we could throw our wood back in there, and that. And you'll notice, like, this is going into the ores and chests. It's going to happen. But with it all linked up in there, it's not so bad. So, actually, let's pop up. I want to show you the way this setup looks above it. So basically, that's what you're going to end up with for that extra utilities water setup. And you're going to have source blocks, you know, on these axes on the interior. Then you're going to have them there, and right back in there for those axes. And then you're going to have source blocks there. And that's how to set that up. And it's just 17 water mills, but it does generate an absolute ton of GP. So for whatever reason, like the lava generators, when you put lava on all 4 sides, it doesn't do anything. It's still just the same amount of lava as if you had lava on one side of the generator. But the water mills work with, you know, water in all directions. So it's very, very handy. And one last thing that I want to grab from extra utilities this episode is going to be, of course, our golden lasso. Now you'll notice that this takes string and gold nuggets, and then it says 8 XP. There's actually a feature that's been added in now where standard crafting can cost XP. So it took some levels from me, and basically the golden lasso works pretty much the same way as it used to. We can pick up animals and move them, and of course you can see what's in here and how much health it has. Now, one thing to note, though, is the golden lasso does not pick up mobs. That has been changed. The golden lasso picks up passive creatures. The cursed lasso, which is basically a golden lasso with a drop of evil, which drops from wither skeletons, is what you're going to use to pick up mobs. And we'll be using one of those fairly soon. That's how we're going to get our flight, our angel ring. So, before I end out the episode, though, I am going to take you guys over to the quarry, and I'll show you how that's coming along. Oh, before I go, I need to grab another power bank, because I'm just kind of packing over these capacitor banks whenever I go over there, just to switch them out and keep it running. So, alright, and this is what I've got. Basically, I've just got the capacitor bank here that I switch out. It had pretty well drained that one. And then a vertical digger with 3 phantom boosters on top. Power lines run in and items get pulled out. They go into storage drawers for all the major items, and they have void upgrades with some storage upgrades in them. And then I've got just some chests here. I don't think I even have this one plugged in, no. Because I was like, well, I don't really need it. I'll go ahead and actually set that at a lower priority. So all the items are coming in here that it mines. You'll notice we're already getting a ton of iron and stuff. Then I've got some other storage drawers over here. And right now I just have this set up actually where we used to live. Because it's only going to dig below itself. It's never going to dig, up or anything. But you'll notice, let me see. It's kind of hard to see the actual size that it's digging, but it is massive. Give me a second. I'm going to dig down to a point that I can show you guys really how big it's digging. Alright, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know YouTube tends to make videos a little bit darker. But you see the blasts are coming down and shooting right through there. And it's basically just ripping up the ground. And this is the size that it's digging out. It is rather large. It's actually digging through a little bit of an area where I actually mined. You'll see some torches and stuff. And we had some torches come in the input chest. But it's digging through the ground fairly quickly, and I could always set this, this is probably going to be the only run that I do for a while that digs up everything. The rest of them will probably be ores only, and just have it ran, just basically ripping up the ground for ores. And then eventually we'll set up a better quarry. This is just a temporary one. But honestly, those capacitor banks do last it quite a while. It's dug down to here. I want to say it's been I think that's a 3rd capacitor bank. So I mean, it's not terrible, and of course it's about to be getting down to where there's actually diamonds and different things. So I mean, it's already down in Y level, probably 40-ish, I'm thinking. I don't know, farther than that I'd say. It's probably about 40, probably 38, 40, something like that. So before long, of course, it's going to hit redstone and gold and diamonds and all that good stuff. So we should see some really nice things coming in fairly soon. So honestly, mining isn't really an issue anymore. Of course, this stuff isn't getting fortune. Should probably fill that back in, huh? Oops, that's fine. The stuff's not getting fortuned and all of that good stuff, but we're getting plenty of materials. This is actually the first charged Certus that I found. All that time I spent mining, never found any charged Certus. So this thing is definitely helping us out quite a bit. But yeah, so, and with Realistic World Gen, you will find a lot of clay underground. That's why I haven't really had an issue with clay. I've had tons of clay, because you will find it underground at a pretty decent rate. So, but yeah, so, of course, if you guys have any questions with any of the extra utility stuff or the quarry setup or anything, do let me know, and I will do my best to help you. With that, I hope my explanation of the extra utilities setup was clear enough. But anyway, I'm going to end out the episode there. If you guys enjoyed it, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more, if you're not already for more daily videos. Also, next episode, you'll notice I pulled up all the basalt in here because I needed it. Basalt's kind of a pain to manually mine at the beginning because it mainly spawns around lava in Realistic World Gen, and I used a bit for building. But next episode, we will either probably start IC2 or Blood Magic. I think is our plan. And we might, whenever we start Blood Magic, we may start Botania as well, and I'll do just a bit of cutting because both of them are kind of grindy at the beginning, you know. So we may go ahead and get the start of those both out of the way, so that we can actually get into the more interesting parts of the mod. But anyway, of course, if you guys have a preference, do let me know. But I know I've had requests for Blood Magic and IC2 already. So, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys join me for next episode. And until then, as always, do take care, and I hope to see you guys next time.